Up, Ray. Boop. Why is Reaper playing Microsoft Flight Simulator? Doesn't it go to work?
Sunday and they don't do calls for this kind of thing.
Yes, they do.
Oh, here we go. There's the mic. Hello, everyone. How's it going? There's Tom. Morning, Shanann. So,
I'm not looking forward to fighting with this.
Darius didn't have too much of a problem getting his.
As a matter of fact, my Final Fantasy XI account had a token attached to it, Frere. I called them. I gave them the verification info, asked them to remove the token.
And what verification info are they asking for? Because if they require the serial number, if they require a button, if they require some billing mechanism,
Your name,
then
the birth date, email, address, zip code, things that just verify that it's you.
Oh, fuck. We're still in fat mode. God damn it. I haven't figured out how to fix that. Oh, well. So I'm back in that same place, Darius.
Yep, I see you. I'm on my way. Beep, 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 beep.
The downside is, it's still stretching that aspect ratio. I tried fixing it in all the settings, windower, everywhere.
Did you try the actual Final Fantasy XI config?
Yes, I did all 3 of them.
EU on all of that?
Yeah, I did everything.
Strange.
Yes. So, we are thick today. This is what looks like when you stretch 4:3 aspect ratio to 16:9. Everything's a little bit dump truck ass.
Grim.
But yes, Frere, all they're asking for is information relating to the account. Your name, the birth date,
that
email
doesn't-
registered when creating it.
It won't help right now.
Doesn't help me right now, though. That's the frustrating part.
Anyway, though. Derp.
Which also sucks because it was a Final Fantasy XI Collector's Edition token.
Fuck. I'm assuming you probably already retraced your steps a bit.
It's either on my keys or not. The other tokens I have are on a separate ring.
Oh, bullshit, Stripe. That sucks. I hope they get it back, huh? What are you doing? I have to move things over. By the way, if one of you figures out how I can fix this aspect ratio crap, let me... I'm super quiet, really. Ah? That's weird. Alright, I'll fix that.
The thing that makes me so more mad about this is like, okay, I finally have my Sunday off and all of this shit. Like, goddamn.
It kind of blows. Hopefully that will get it corrected, Stripe. Let me know if it seems out of balance still. Apparently Discord, as well as other things, have been fucking up with the audio devices a lot lately. Normally it should be just set and forget, but apparently not! Oh, I wish it did. I wish it did. So, what do you think should be the plan today?
I'm gonna bitch internally.
Well,
Bitch
right
internally?
now. Well, right now the biggest thing here is probably going to be getting your levels up so you have easier access to everything.
Ah, yeah, that definitely. Yay, that's good. Have a balance. Alright then. Yes, go smack things in the face then.
Don't forget to invite me.
I know. Hate this. CMD. Add. Get it?
Yep. Now to party sync.
Party hardy. Nom time. Noms are tasty.
I don't know if I want to get noms or what. I know Riker's not going to be up for a while.
No. Food is tasty.
Yeah, I know.
Oh yeah. Trust. Just let me do.
Mm-hmm.
Must wait a while. I tinkered with increasing the scope of the size of the UI, and it seems to have helped a bit.
Yeah, it can.
Yeah, it's probably legible to people on stream now.
Yeah, definitely.
Hopefully it'll be ready for me to do it after this done. So, I still haven't gotten any response to that this copyright dispute on my...
Copyright dispute.
Yeah, apparently, you know the scene where the the Garlean airship is being attacked by Shiva?
Yes.
They decided to go ahead and start and UMD or whatever it is tried to claim it in the name of the movie Black Panther.
I'm
And I'm going like,
sorry.
what? I'm
You,
opposing
abs-
that on principle.
you absolutely do not own that. That is Soken's work, you jackasses.
Yeah.
And
So
Soken's absolutely wonderful. He has no problem with it being used in context.
here's the thing. I went ahead and went a fair use dispute. So we're gonna see what happens. Oh, and apparently, another recent development I saw on Twitter, Uncle Kage or Cage or whatever the people say it. Apparently, YouTube told him that they'd issued an automatic copyright thing in his name on his own video.
What?
Yes. What? Check his Twitter. It's hilarious. What the hell?
And even if YouTube has the tools to deal with this, the fact that there are so many problems indicates their tools are unusable.
Yeah, it's fucking stupid. That made me go like, oh, that's bullshit.
Right.
Like, and then people started posting memes like, pasting his face over something of him holding a gun to his own head with it. It was so weird. Like, oh, it's the same person, the clone of a person trying to shoot the other clone. What?
I mean, it is a hard problem to solve, so I understand that, but at the same time,
The over reliance on it is a problem.
it just tells us that there's no fucks given.
Honestly, I think that an automatic system it's okay to have that in place, but each and every one of them should be reviewed by a person.
That's the problem. Even when you do have people doing it, you're going to have the least expensive people possible doing it, and they're not going to pay
Yeah,
attention.
but it's pretty easy to look at two samples and go like, this is not the same. What the hell? I'm derping. Brain.
You'd like to think that, wouldn't you?
Do things, brain. Oh yeah, trust.
Do other things, brain. What are we going to do tonight? Try and take over the world.
Oh, yeah, now time to buff with white magic. I don't know, Darius, how much white you're subbing white mage, aren't you?
Phrasing.
No, I am subbed monk right now.
Okay, I guess you probably don't have protect, so I guess...
My automaton can summon protect her, though.
Oh, fair.
I could totally do that as a freaking dancer. What's weird is I didn't even get a notice from Square Enix that my ticket went in.
You know what the worms are weak to?
Dewormers.
Well, I did that to the cat earlier. She decided she was having none of that.
How many injuries did you sustain?
Only one. Well, the meaning one arm. Alright, let's begin, shall we?
Yep.
Did you drink your Ovaltine while you were doing it? I'm sure my age.
Ow.
Might as well spam the ranged attack now and then, I guess.
Yeah, won't hurt.
If you have auto RA, it'll work for things like bows, but this will work for check.
Sometimes I wonder if it's worth getting these open, but then I remember how Gil is a pain in the ass to get a hold of. $70. We have boots and elves. And you said that they didn't have these kind of chests earlier in the game life, did they?
No, they do not.
Funky. Here we go.
Yeah, see, the thing with silence there, Worm, it doesn't work on me.
If you're mostly just punching things.
Are you saying you're a loud bastard?
No, I just have no magic to cast. I'm
Oh,
quite glad it
white. Should I be worried about that?
Between Kapipi, Petra, myself, and you, nah.
Alright.
Don't worry, PP will take care of it.
Attack them all! Stabbity shankity stabbity. How do you target undead with things like cure spells? Just choose them instead of
Simple.
yourself?
Right. white
Okay.
takes 21 points of damage.
I think that's a good way to raise the healing spell level.
It's a possibility. The only thing that really makes these guys a pain in the ass to fight is the blood saber.
What's the blood saber?
It's their weapon skill that draws HP from us and gives it to them.
They're also a new brand of lifesavers.
But, as you just noticed, he still went down easy enough.
Yeah. So. Fuck. Fuck.
Well, this white just said hello,
Oh,
and that was blood aggro.
because lower health.
Because you were in the yellow, he immediately sensed it and came running.
Okay. And Kupipi is stupid and low and won't kill them.
Kupipi doesn't have enough MP.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Question is it more valuable to just cast Cure on yourself? I mean, Cure on undead? Or just you blast them with elemental spell?
Depends which is higher, your restoration magic or something else.
Okay, time to regain. If I can spell it right. That's kind of important.
Pardon me while I have a very rare and unusual session.
That's annoying.
Indeed.
Come on. Target.
You're bound.
Yeah, but I should still be able to target.
Yeah.
Hey. Those are annoying.
What is?
The worms. How come you can't hover over an ability, like one of the status icons, and have it tell you what it is? Doesn't tell you shit.
How can you tell status icons?
Yeah.
They're up with your buffs.
Yeah, but if you hover over them, it doesn't tell you what it is.
No. Greenish yellow skull is paralyzed. Black is just outright black cloud is blind. Scroll with an X through it is silence.
Blue polygon thing, I'm assuming is detect.
Yep.
Wonder what the
Green
green
star
icon.
is shell.
L is for magic damage, isn't it?
Yep.
Yep. Good if you are. Okay, I can. Alright. There we go. So apparently, hit or not, the bow will still get something to.
Yes.
Well, that's useful. So if you only just need it for something else, it's fine. Like if you're not using it for
That's
damage.
why you will usually see any thief worth their salt with a returning ranged weapon. Boomerangs, chakram.
So they can pull.
Right. That way they don't have to waste their money and gil on ammunition and stuff.
Because it's not like they need to have an actual amount of skill in it.
Right. Like, for example, this clipper. If I had anything on it, if I had a ranged, I'd be throwing it.
What, Pete?
So is Final Fantasy XI set in its own world, or is it like 14 that's in kind of a mixture of Final Fantasy 12 with other stuff in it?
Completely separate. Pretty much almost all the Final Fantasy ones, unless they're a direct sequel or separate.
For what I've been told, if you look into the lore, 14 is technically in 12's universe.
Heard it say it, if you know.
Final Fantasy
it's got, like-
14 is a nice mashup of all of them. It's got Notre Dame from 6, it's got Rabanastre and Ivalice from 12. They've even mentioned Vanadil once or twice.
Yeah, what I heard is that it's like 12 with a couple other things thrown into it.
Nah.
I think the
I know
12...
that 12 is in the Tactics world. Same world as Final Fantasy Tactics.
Yeah, it is the same world, I think.
I still, honestly, when it comes to the Final Fantasy games, the one I need to play the most is Tactics.
Apparently that's a lot of people's favorite.
I'm into that kind of game. I've actually been looking at playing this game called Fae Tactics. Have you heard of it?
Not really.
It's like a
Hey,
more
Darius, where'd you go?
cartoony, cute version of Final Fantasy Tactics, but you play as a witch with her familiars as your units. And it's got like an element system, really similar to Chrono Trigger, where all the characters have their own elements.
Oh, I had a dirt moment. If I'm in melee, I need to go ahead and move to actually engage it again.
Yeah.
Oh shit, that was a lot of...
There's a reason why they say goblins are the party wipers of the group.
Okay, everything's out of yellow. I just figured it might be a good idea to do that.
Yeah, just a little bit. Otherwise, we could just keep going.
Perhaps.
This way goes charge out.
I think the downside for me is I have less of a internalized idea of where places are in this game in relative relation to the rest of the world.
Yep.
I think that when it comes to the worlds, though, that for the 14 universe, I think places like Rabanastre is basically just like a portal to another world, technically.
No, it's the
it's-
ruins of said places, actually.
It's in a desert in between eastern and western lands.
Okay, what was the actual justification story-wise to fit it into the lore at 14?
I
Oh.
don't remember. It was raid content. It was stuff you had to unlock, optionals.
The long lost civilization that had been absorbed by the Garlean Empire.
That seems like a parallel. Oh, that's not... It is okay. I'm assuming the giants are something to avoid currently.
Those are beastmen. Depends if you want to check them or not.
Might as well check
In
it.
Yagudo, they should all die.
Seems very tough. High defense.
So are the skeletons.
Alright, I guess we can go ahead and womp one. Why not?
Womp womp.
Definitely, I think I'm gonna want to fucking blind it, though. Blind it. It moved my spells around. Okay. I'm guessing the analog for this is those giants in Copper Bell 14.
Yes.
But instead they're treated as just a plain old beast driver. $400 XP, that's not bad, is it?
It's pretty good. Lurgans.
Huh?
You're a regular old beast tribe. Yep.
I don't think those clippers are bound. Pathetic. As a monk one.
I believe so. And no, they're not. Otherwise, it would say Giant's Clipper.
Fair. Okay. Blind bitch.
How dare you?
I think blind is probably one of the better ways to pull something, isn't it?
If you're a mage pulling, yes.
Because you're probably going to get that first smack, and it's probably a good thing if it misses.
Yeah, especially if you have to pull long distance.
Then again, red mage can wear heavier armor than other magic users, which is big.
Yeesh.
Apparently, another streamer was recommending that I go with Red Mage Ninja. As an option.
Dual wield swords and have shadows.
Basically become magical off tank.
No. Magic based DPS.
Hello.
Hello.
Pepis, who dare?
It'd be Hawthorne. Hello.
Hi Hawthorne, how you doing?
I'm pretty good.
I've got to know your voice way.
Hey, Hawthorne.
Hello.
What you up to? Welcome to the stream.
Welcome to Chili's.
I'm currently lying in bed because I don't wanna be standing or sitting right now. So this is the only alternative.
You have that problem too?
Yeah. It's the weekend and there's stuff that I don't want to do, so I'm laying in bed.
It's called Bucket O'Clock.
We need to talk later about important
Yeah.
stuff that I don't want to talk about on Logan's stream right now.
It's all good.
Mm.
I got all day to do it.
I'm gonna be going to bed in like an hour.
I got dishes I need to wash. Dang.
All of my dishes are done. The breakfast has been made and served.
I look
Yes, but
forward
has it been
to.
eaten?
I always feel like look forward to doing the dishes because I can make a lot of money selling the gamer girl dishwater.
Personally, I always listen to music when I do dishes, but I don't know why. I just haven't been feeling doing the dishes.
I've come to realize something. I think these worms are killing them as good for mining materials, essentially.
Yeah, depending upon where you go.
It looks like the worms from Demon Souls, but a lot smaller.
Are you talking about the weird ceiling ones that munch on your head?
No, from Demon Souls.
Oh, demon.
The ones in Stonefang Mine.
They remind me of Twin Mold from Zelda.
Man, I really hope that they put Demon Souls on PC soon, because honestly, I'm not buying a PS3 for at least, or not a PS5 for at least a year. Minimum.
Yeah.
That's fine. They're not going to sell you one for at least a year.
I'm thinking maybe two.
I fucking love that.
I don't want to get a PS5 just for Demon Souls, because that is literally what I would buy. That's the point.
Yeah, what else do they have? Bug Snacks? It's not even
That game
console
actually
exclusive.
seems pretty good.
What else do they have? They have like Godfall? I think it's called?
That's not even worth it. It's on other
Ghost
stuff.
of Tsushima, but Ghost of Tsushima is PS4.
Yeah, Ghost of Tsushima's on PS4.
Yeah, but you can play it enhanced on PS5.
Yeah, but why bother? Just wait for the inevitably lit it out on lit it out to the real platform of PC later.
Well, remember what happened when they released Horizon Zero Dawn on PC?
Yeah, it was glitchy for a little
No,
bit.
it should. It still is.
Yeah, they didn't fix it.
I mean, it's better, but it's still broken.
The way I see it, though, it just gives me less reason to buy their console. And you know what? That's a good thing.
I mean, like, look at the PC version of Horizon Zero Dawn, and it runs like Lieutenant Dan.
Before or after the war?
That's the joke. Is it bad that he's my favorite character in that movie?
Lieutenant Dan got no legs!
Well, by the end of the movie, he gets a new one.
I need to watch that movie again.
I feel like Forrest Gump is one of those movies that is simultaneously completely overrated and completely underrated.
There's actually... Apparently the author didn't... No, hold on. Apparently Forrest Gump had a lot of scenes cut out of it. Apparently there would have been a point where Gump went to space.
Yes, there was.
Yeah.
But I think the movie set a good pace and everything else.
Yeah.
And it kept
But
it from
look at
getting
the guy-
too absurd.
I don't think it's the best movie ever made. And if we're going to talk about movies that are kind of a comedy and a drama at the same time, I feel like my favorite movie in that genre is kind of like probably The Truman Show.
Yeah, that's a good one.
The Truman Show
favorite
is
story.
a fucking tragedy.
My favorite story about the whole Forrest Gump movie is that it was based off a book, and the author didn't really like the fact that was different for the movie. He made sure that the studio that published it would buy a sequel, and then he just made the sequel impossible to create on film.
Basically, he just tried to screw them over.
Yeah.
You know what movie I found really weird? Big Fish. Big Fish felt like it was trying to be a less plausible version of Forrest Gump.
It's a weird but decent movie, I think.
That movie was just like weird. It feels like an oddity of its time.
I've seen a lot of movies about fish, and for some reason it's usually about some old guy turning into one when he gets into water. For some reason he stays as a fish.
The old guy was a furry.
Like there was a movie that I watched. It was partially live.
You're throwing
film.
rocks at
And the other part of it was animated. And it was basically the guy from It's a Wonderful Life gets turned into a fish and somehow gets involved with a plot to deflect missiles during the American-Japanese War.
Wait, what?
It was a weird movie, man. I don't know why. He falls in love with the female fish and fights sharks. For some reason, he had the ability to like let out this hypersonic scream that would attract missiles.
This
Has anyone
found-
seen that Netflix movie that was entirely about genetically engineering people who could live on one of the like moons of Neptune? It was
That one
really
sounds
weird.
interesting.
There are a lot of weird movies.
Does anybody remember?
Just like the cube.
Does anybody remember Species? Because that was like such a weird movie.
I've never heard of it.
Neither have I.
It was
heard
a
Animorphs
weird
had a series.
slasher science fiction about this alien that turned into a really attractive woman that ate people. It was really weird. It's like it was trying to be Alien, but it was about the monster, not about the people fighting it. And
I
it was
think
like overly sexualized. It just felt really awkward.
I think they parodied that in Men in Black.
Yeah, I think Species might have came out first. So yeah, it before Men in Black 2. So yeah, just imagine like the lady from Men in Black 2, but the entire movie's about her.
With more awkward vor scenes.
No.
There was a total of 2 in that movie. You see, that's the only thing that's the stuff that I remember from the movie, and that's it. Because I was a kid when I watched the Men in Black series.
It's a good series.
Honestly,
I'm not saying it's not. I just don't remember any of it.
hot take, I don't like those movies. I don't know why. They just don't appeal to me.
There is a fair amount of gore, at least in the second one.
I'm gonna say when it comes to like I don't actually like most of Will Smith's movies. I prefer him as the Fresh Prince. I think like when I think of Will Smith movies I really like, the only one I can think of off the top of my head is The Pursuit of Happiness.
It is a really good one.
I'm probably missing some. I'm probably missing some that I would probably like that I'm gonna like smack myself in the head and go, why didn't I think of that one?
Epic. I'm blasting.
I wasn't too, like, Hancock was okay.
I just love how it was basically drunk Superman character that doesn't give a fuck.
It was okay, but like I felt like the pacing wasn't the best. Like it's a cool concept,
Could have been done better.
but yeah, it definitely could have been pulled off better. I didn't see Bad Boys. Independence Day. Okay, there's another movie of his that I like.
Wait, level up again? Shit, that.
I really like that.
That's 2 level ups this morning so far. Wow.
I never got into like early movies like that. I never got into like Fast and Furious. That stuff, you know? I like action.
I'm into a weird spread of movies.
Yeah. I like action movies. I don't like car action movies, which is also conflicting because I like Transformers, like as like as a IP. I hate the movies.
Well, they are kind of
Spec-
dumb.
Yeah.
I think the
I
only like
especially-
genre of movies that pulls me in just by being a genre is like slasher flicks.
Do you see
I-
the difference here?
Yes, I
Right,
see it
yes,
has
it's
pets.
Bleach.
Kill the trapper first?
Yep, unless you want to kill the leech for the EXP.
I just killed the trapper.
Yeah, who
I
else?
especially
makes
hate the
horror
fourth
movies?
movie. I especially hate the fourth Transformers movie because everyone was told, "Oh, the kid wants to see the oh, okay, that's cool." And then we wait until the end of the movie, and they're not on screen for a whole movie.
Hawthorne, you're cutting out really bad.
I can't tell anything that you were saying. Still not good.
Transformers 2 was a disappointment because the Dinobots suck.
I'm just gonna say about the Transformers movies, I'll agree that they're decent action movies, but I think the fact that I saw the animated movie first,
Made you go like, I like this better.
yeah, but I really do have an affinity for like cheesy 80s stuff, so like I admit my bias there. I realized that if you showed the original Transformers movies, like movie to a lot of the kids who grew up on the new Transformers movies, they'd probably like the newer ones more because the original was like very cheesy.
Well, you kind of are a 90s cheese company.
That movie came out in like the late 80s, I'm pretty sure.
I want to watch Labyrinth.
Me too.
Don't live forever.
Okay,
And
Not long at all.
Pulp Fiction and
Yes,
forget.
Labyrinth and David Bowie are fucking
I'll
amazing.
admit, I'm just gonna say that the best acting in Labyrinth is the sheer terror on the little kid's face as all the goblins dance around him, because I'm pretty sure that's not acting. I'm pretty sure this kid was fucking terrified for his life in real life. Because he's surrounded by like Jim Henson goblins and David Bowie dancing around with a bulge the size of a fucking bowling ball.
I have a Labyrinth disc plate. I haven't hung it up yet. I haven't hung any of my disc plates yet.
I haven't seen Labyrinth in years. I have a double feature of Labyrinth and the Dark Crystal, and I want to watch the Labyrinth side of it, but the Dark Crystal, like, I don't know why, the Gelflings just make me uncomfortable, and I don't want to watch it. They're too uncanny valley for me in a way that I just don't like. There's
Only female Gelfling have wings.
It was the
There-
Skeksis that got me, not the Gelflings.
I
yeah,
don't
like,
remember a damn thing about the movie.
Jim Henson was really good at making really creepy models.
Also, by the way, you want movies, children's films that terrify kids? Dawn Bluth.
What about the Goonies? With Aunt Ramsey?
Oh my
I love
god, that woman is terrifying.
She is, apparently she's the nicest lady in real life, but she is so scary.
Hit puree!
Also, Matilda. Matilda is like the scariest kids movie.
Trunchbull.
Trunchbull is terrifying. Oh my god.
Well, you have this massive, hairy fucking German woman as the villain. The character I'm pretty sure that woman's intimidating on her own merits, and then you throw her in with that character persona. Woo!
I would very much actually like to see the musical because it's originally a musical.
It was originally a novel by Roald Dahl.
Oh well, before the movie was a musical. I
Fun
should
fact
probably also
about
know.
oh, sorry. Fun fact about Matilda. That movie was absolutely a project of love on the part of Danny DeVito.
He bankrolled it.
Heavily involved himself in the process of making that movie. He directed it, he acted in it, he made a lot of decisions about it. he thought it would be one of the best movies that he'd ever make, and I would actually argue that that's a movie he can be fucking proud of.
Didn't he technically direct it?
Yeah, he directed it. He did. He helped with the screenplay,
Where'd you go,
and
Darius?
he was in it.
Did you also hear about
there
the
you are.
story where Danny DeVito, I believe one of the main
Lead on.
characters' moms was in the hospital. I don't know if it was for anything, life threatening, but
You're cutting out really bad, Hawthorne. I can't hear you.
I'm gonna skip to my PC. Screw that.
Oh yeah. What I was gonna say is I really respect Danny DeVito for choosing to play like one of the least flattering characters in the whole movie.
And yet he did it so well.
Oh yeah, like that scene where he's talking to Matilda about like schooling, and he's like, "I'm big, you're small. I'm right, you're wrong." And I'm just like, oh my god, because that really is how like kids see adults when stuff's unfair.
He also technically saved her dad's ass on several occasions.
Yeah, I mean, he could have like gotten away if he'd actually listened to her.
66. I'm getting lots of equipment that's going to be by going through these.
At later level.
Yep.
We
Especially
need
for
to
other
watch-
classes. Huh?
We need to watch more movies together.
I think we just have a movie night.
We should, because like there's so many good movies out there.
Like community movie night. I've been trying to advocate with people like position for that, but
I think you should start trying to run a community movie night.
I don't know.
Yes, sorry about that. As I was saying, story about Danny DeVito. One of the actor's parents was in the hospital. I'm not sure if it was for anything life-threatening or not, but I believe they were worried at the time. So what he did was he went to the hospital with an early cut of the movie, like almost before the end of it, and he showed it to them. Just in case, like if they happened to pass before the movie was out, they actually got to see it.
That's amazing.
Danny DeVito just seems like if I were to meet like a big Hollywood actor, I think he's probably the one I'd choose, because a lot of the other ones I have huge respect for are dead. And like he's old. He's probably not got another decade. I'd want to meet him.
Yep.
I think the number one actor I'd want to meet is Robin Williams, but sadly he's no longer with us.
I thought you had.
No, he's been in my area quite a lot because he went to rehab here. He also played Warhammer in some of the local game stores here.
It is kind of funny how many celebrities actually play Warhammer.
And a bunch of them play Warhammer because he got them into it. Some of them are rumors and there's no confirmation from the people themselves. Like there's a rumor that he taught Will Smith how to play, and Will Smith taught Tommy Lee Jones on the set of Men in Black, but neither of them have ever said anything about it, so it's unconfirmable at the moment.
So it'd be
Unless
kind of funny.
one of them confirms it.
I personally would play. I would play Warhammer, but not 40k. 40k is way too expensive.
They're
Warhammer
all
period is
expensive.
too expensive.
Which Warhammer would you play?
The fantasy tabletop, the actual one that's not army based, but actual individual character based.
Oh no.
You can do that with any of them.
How do I put this? Okay, so there's Warhammer Fantasy Battles,
Oh.
which is the original, which is army based, and Warhammer 40k, which came out basically the same time and is army based. And then later on, they came out with a role-playing system really similar to Dungeons and Dragons that was set in the universe of Warhammer Fantasy.
I believe it was Warhammer D20, or was it something else?
The Warhammer Fantasy role-playing system is what it's called.
I would say probably the fantasy role-playing system. I'm not big on the whole new canon and stuff like that, where it's all space marines and like fighting on planets with machine guns.
No, okay.
Separate
I
IP.
have looked this up because I was wrong about it. Warhammer 40k came out at the exact same time as Warhammer Fantasy. They released simultaneously.
Well,
In fact, there were some Warhammer 40k models that were released prior to any of the fantasy models being released. Because back then, they were just making Hero Quest, I think.
I also think Blood Bowl, I believe, is an offshoot of Warhammer.
I'm pretty sure Blood Bowl isn't supported anymore. I don't think they're making it anymore.
I don't know.
They did
Okay.
just release another digital version of that game.
So, I'll just put it really simply. Back in the day, back in the 80s, they were releasing games like Hero Quest in conjunction with, I believe, Hasbro. And then they put out their own model line. And these were just models for, like, painting. They weren't, like, for a game. And then they put out Warhammer Fantasy and Warhammer 40k at the exact same time back in the 80s. Nowadays, they've discontinued Warhammer Fantasy and replaced it with a franchise called Warhammer Age of Sigmar, which is high fantasy. But there's offshoots of these three games. If you don't like the big army play, Warhammer 40k has a game called Warhammer Kill Team, where you only take like 5 units, and by 5 models. So you can buy a single box of like Marines and have your entire squad from a single box.
And then just get however many you want. Like if you want to paint something different or things. So basically it's a great way for people just like to occasionally paint and assemble miniatures to just go like, hey, I want to play, but I've only got these things.
Yeah, it's basically you're playing Warhammer, but instead of like moving entire like platoons of units, like entire like squads, you control a single squad and move all the members individually.
Yep, skirmish.
It's a skirmish game. And then the fantasy version is called Warhammer Underworlds, which is basically the same thing but in the fantasy setting.
And you can use the same models of both games.
I'm more for the actual like individual character progression and stuff like that. Like if you're talking like playing 2 people or at the same time, that's fine. I mean, you can build character off that, but like I don't know. Really for skirmish games, I do prefer the role playing for role playing games rather than like war games where you just have the stuff all.
Those are completely
Then
separate.
I'll recommend Warhammer 40k Inquisitor is a decent role-playing game. Warhammer 40k Wrath and Glory is a pretty decent tabletop game, and then if you are more interested in the fantasy side, they are still supporting the Warhammer Fantasy role-playing system. Also, just a note, Warhammer 40k is its own universe. It's not set in the fantasy universe.
Yeah, they're entirely separate.
Yeah, that's the Space Marine stuff. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they're entirely their own world. The only thing that's really similar about them is that they have orcs and chaos.
That's the thing. It's another reason why I don't want to get into 40k is because some of the fan base are like
Gatekeeping assholes.
I'm not gonna say like. I'm not
You
gonna
can say it.
toxic. I don't want to say
I'll put it
toxic
this
because I
way.
don't think that's actually fair. but there's a lot of orc glorification. I'm like, what the fuck else is that? Like, all I hear from this thing is fucking orcs, and they just sound like assholes. So I'm not interested.
I'll put it this way: 40K is a parody, at its core, a parody of political extremes. The
Some people
Imperium,
take it too
who
far.
are the main focus of Warhammer 40K, are a parody of fascism. And so there are people who don't understand that 40K is making fun of them.
Yeah.
And they think it's serious because fascists have gotten to the point where they are beyond parody. This is why you got a lot of people comparing a certain person to the God Emperor. Despite the fact the God Emperor is supposed to be a parody of that kind of toxicity.
Okay.
So,
And even
the
then, it's
idea
far
of
deeper
looking
than that.
up- The idea of looking up to a leader as completely infallible, that's what the Emperor is lampooning. Him as a character was created to lampoon that idea that you can have an infallible leader.
And he didn't want that, is the funny thing.
That was written into his character later, as far as I know. The whole, him being a man of science and not wanting that was changed later.
Well, I think that makes him a more interesting character. That was
It does. I like the idea of the Emperor being this amazing guy who got corrupted.
I mean, I'd probably take more of a look into it for the sake of like lore reasons, but it
They got
just seems to me
novels.
that all the yeah, I know. It just seems to me that all the factions are, well, I mean, in
They're
their
all
own way.
assholes.
Yeah, they're all assholes, which is like,
It's like real life. Everyone's an asshole.
well, yeah, but they're all assholes, but none of them are assholes that I agree with, which is the problem.
You shouldn't, if you are agreeing with any faction in Warhammer 40K, you should reconsider your positions.
Well, yeah, that's why I don't play 40K.
Well, here's the thing: that just because you don't agree, you don't agree with it, doesn't mean you can't like the ideas and the weird things about it. Because let's be honest, orcs are fucking funny and stupid.
Oh, don't get me wrong. Like, okay, I like 40K. I never want to play it because I don't want to play like a thing that I don't agree with. But I do appreciate like the fucking ridiculousness. Like, I mean, being able to being like, I just fluxing down everybody with me dagger.
And you know what the funny thing is? A lot of the orc players actually get into character like that, and they go nuts.
Now, I would like to disclose something to everybody in this call who knows 40K lore. I've never told anybody this in my life, but did you know that I am Alfarius?
Who?
You freaking meme.
Okay, so the Primarch of Alpha Legion is named Alfarius, and he died. But as far as we can tell, they've implanted his memories into every member of the Alpha Legion. This is heavily implied, but not canon. But because his memories are in the minds of every Alpha Legion member, they all think they're Alfarius.
Which is fucking hilarious. It's like that one vault.
They have this one rule, which is absolutely fucking hilarious. If you kill their warlord, you randomly pick another model in your army that could be designated your warlord. You give it a warlord trait, and it becomes your new warlord.
One thing I will say also about orcs, or at least part of their religion, is that if they believe it, it works. So you can have like a juice box with a gun barrel on it and it will shoot.
If they believe in it hard enough, it will do it.
Yeah.
I still love that one.
And there's no reason or rhyme behind it. It just does.
The thing is,
Question
It's
mark.
because they were designed by the old ones, or the frog people.
It also reminds me of that one enemy in D&D that can potentially make gods by thinking something is cool.
oh,
Like
those
the
fish
thing-
people.
Yeah, those fish people like, oh, wow, that toaster is cool, and suddenly you have a god of toasters.
Oh, you want to distract a Mechanicus person? Just give them a toaster. Like, here's the thing. Warhammer is a shitty universe. And if you take that universe seriously, you're gonna hate yourself in the end for it.
Now, I do have to say, one of my favorite jokes in the 40k universe is, okay, so there's a bunch of guardsmen on a bunker at the top of a hill, and there's 10,000 orcs coming after them. And as they're firing down these orcs who are running up the hill at them, they run out of guns. One of them says, I have an idea. He pulls out his las gun, he points at them, and just starts yelling bang, and the orcs fall over and die. And they keep doing this, and they just keep yelling bang as they point out all these orcs coming up the hill, and they just keep dying, and they're like, oh my god, I can't believe this is working. Until this one orc starts walking up the hill slowly while pumping his arms. And no matter how much they point at him and say bang, for some reason he won't fall over. As he gets closer, they hear what he's saying. I'm a tank, 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 I'm a tank.
Oh my
And then
god.
just one of them say, anti-tank rifle.
That's when you just go, that's when you go like, and the cannon! And it just turns into some really stupid game of where you're basically playing pretend with the orcs and they die instead of just actually pretending to.
I shot you. No.
Now, if you look into the
No, you
lore,
didn't.
it takes a lot of orcs to actually affect anything. Like, by a lot, I mean thousands of orcs. It takes thousands of orcs to actually create any noticeable change. You can't take a single orc and have him, like, warp reality. It takes groupthink for them to do it.
So they all collectively thought that they were being shot at.
Yeah, so, like, if you got a whole bunch of orcs, like, and you had, like, a couple, like, thousand of them on a planet, and you convinced them all that the planet was exploding, the planet would explode.
You know, you could just make them exterminatus themselves at that point.
Exactly.
Just say the planet, just do a worldwide announcement that says the planet will explode at 5:30 p.m. on a Saturday.
Now, like, the 40k universe, I think the appeal of the 40k universe is sometimes it's fun to play the bad guy. And no matter who you pick in 40k, you're playing the bad guy.
Well, and it's just like I like playing games where I play the bad guy. You've got Dungeon Keeper, Evil Genius, stuff like that. Sometimes it's cathartic.
Playing the bad guy can be fun. I enjoy playing the bad guy with quote-unquote redeemable qualities.
You can do that in 40k, because, like, look at the salamanders. They're bad guys because they have their own problems, but they genuinely care about people. And they'll save you without, like, they don't care if there's a tactical advantage to saving you or it benefits the Imperium. You're an Imperial citizen. You are a life and you deserve to be protected. That's why I like the Salamanders the most of any chapter of Space Marines in terms of their lore. Now, on the tabletop, I play Minotaurs because the Minotaurs are a faction that are basically, imagine a faction of Space Marines based on a mixture of Minotaurs from Greek myth and Spartans, and then make them all Doomguy. That's what the Minotaurs are.
So they like fighting demons. I see.
They like fighting other Space Marines, and so the Ecclesiarchy has basically resorted, like, the Ecclesiarchy realizes they can't control the Minotaurs because the Minotaur faction is way too big and way too strong. So they just send them subspace messages telling them where heretics are, and then the Minotaurs just go and solve the problem. Because the Minotaurs are only interested in battle. Like, they're glory seekers and nothing else.
Yeah, they want something that can give them a challenge.
Basically, what the Ecclesiarchy is scared of is that the Minotaurs get bored.
Sounds like they're Highlanders, but without the fact that they don't want to kill each other. They want to just kill other people.
They only want to kill Space Marines. Now, they have fought other things. They want to fight the most challenging thing that they can, and they view Space Marines as the biggest challenge. But they've also fought Tyranids. In fact, they got dropped onto a planet that was deemed completely unsavable, And they killed so many gene stealers that it caused the Hive Lord to appear, and then they just instantly killed it and cleaned up the entire planet. Like, they are strong, and it's because they break the rules. The Space Marine rules say that you're not allowed to do certain things. Their faction is, like, how do I put this?
Yeah.
Their faction is 10 times larger than it's supposed to be. They put more cybernetics and genetic modifications into their Marines than they're supposed to. They use weapons that are supposed to be exclusively used by the Custodes.
And they go like, well, stop me then if you don't want me to do it. I dare you.
Like, they showed up on Earth during a little scuffle, and in the heat of battle, Asterion Moloch, their leader, bested a Custodes in single combat, and then everybody on Holy Terra collectively shat their drawers.
And it wasn't even on purpose, I don't think, either.
He didn't. I don't think he intended to kill him. But yeah, Asterion Moloch is stronger than a Custodes. Ruby Gilliman basically gave them the Primaris upgrade as a way to get them to go away.
It's like, okay, subject yourself to this.
I feel like if there's anything that can save Metallica at this point, not the band, the planet, they just need to point the Minotaurs that way. Because, like, as much as I love the Death Guard, okay, the Death Guard are my favorite army in the game. They don't stand a chance against Minotaurs when you look at the lore.
That's what you just...
I'm gonna say thank you for making the distinction.
What was this? What was that?
Thank you for making the distinction between Metallica and Metallica the band.
Yes, because okay, well, let's be honest, nothing can save Metallica because some of the best members are dead.
Don't you see? MP3 means you're stealing from me.
Don't you see? Spotify just means it's Metallica persevering.
Dude, Metallica, I am a huge fan of their early albums. In fact, I am looking at them right now very fondly because I like their stuff.
How about that Twitch BlizzCon thing?
What?
BlizzCon?
Didn't they have Metallica on for BlizzCon, and Twitch turned around and dubbed over their live performance for BlizzCon with some other unrelated bullshit?
Yeah, I think that was a thing.
It's hilarious.
I mean, I'm not super inclined to go see Metallica ever because, again, like, it's not Metallica anymore. It's like going and seeing Queen. Is it really Queen without Freddie Mercury?
No. But that's not the thing. It's just the sense of Metallica, the band, was so hard against things like Napster and whatnot, and yet they're getting smacked by their own shit.
The copyright system is fucked. It was originally designed to protect the people at the bottom, and then it was co-opted by the people at the top because they had more money, so they could lobby more.
It was also intended to not be a permanent thing. You had a certain amount of time to make your money, and then you had to go make something else to keep making money.
20 years would have been a great
thing. One of the big reasons for the for copyright law in the first place was, imagine back in the day, back in the 1700s, if you wrote a book, and it was a really, really, really good book, and you were self-made and you were publishing this book yourself, and then a huge publishing house found your book, and then started printing it and selling it themselves. What were you gonna do? They can produce 100 times more books than you. They will fulfill all the demand, and like you won't sell your books. Like, copyright law was designed to protect the little guy from being outcompeted by people who had more production resources than you. That's why patents exist, to prevent a larger company from just taking your technology and then mass producing it, completely driving you out of the market. But it's been co-opted to do the complete opposite. That it completely stifles innovation now. It doesn't protect innovators, it silences them.
Basically,
Yeah, I
it's just
believe
TNL.
cool use. Huh?
What is your TNL?
What is TNL?
Till next level.
Yeah, I feel like copyright should be 4+4. You start with 4, and then you have to be able to show that you're still selling your product and making a profit off of it to get another 4 years. If you can't make your money back on a movie or a book in 8 years, then maybe you should make a new one and learn from it.
10 or 20 years in my mind is fine, but to turn around and require 80 to 90 years, what is it? 90 years now?
It's till your death plus a certain amount of time.
Yeah, no, that's bullshit.
Yeah, basically, Star Wars isn't going to hit public domain until like something like 70 years after George Lucas eventually dies. Just to give you like a real world example. It's ridiculous. You should look into court cases over like in the music industry over plagiarism, because some of them can be really interesting in what record companies will actually like, what record labels think they can get away with suing people over.
Anything and everything. They'll sue you for anything they can.
Like, there was that one lawsuit about Joyful Noise versus Katy Perry's, I think it was called Dark Horse, which was ridiculous, and somehow they ruled in the favor of Joyful Noise, being like the original and Dark Horse being like a ripoff. And then they had to like do a second case to prove that no. Basically, the lawsuit was because Joyful Noise went doot 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 doot, and Katy Perry's song went doot 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 doot, with like it's a 1-note
1600,
difference.
Darius.
It's like the...
All right.
There's a discussion about what constitutes original work when it comes to the component pieces of a piece of music, and how you can't copyright a particular component of a piece of music. You have to do the whole thing.
But they ruled in favor of the guy who wrote Joyful Noise at first, and then there had to be a second court case to overturn it.
Yeah.
Like they had to appeal it, which is ridiculous. Like the fact that it needed to be appealed at all, because like it's such a ridiculous thing to sue over. It's like
Darius, white. It's aggroed.
I'm
like
aware. I was trying to make distance between me and the giant.
It's like you can't own a chord progression. Yet I'm pretty sure there's probably been lawsuits in the music industry over chord progressions.
I will say though, I am often disappointed when I hear the beginning notes of either Ice Ice Baby or Pressure.
Yep.
And severely disappointed when it's not Pressure.
Yep. Wait a minute, that's not how that song goes. The shit.
I love that. I love that David Bowie listened to Freddie Mercury's voice and then went, you know what, I'm gonna write a song for this guy.
I like opening these chests, Darius, and keep running off.
Oh, I know that there's just one or two banshees here, so I'm just checking their difficulty.
Okay. What, you want to go after those next?
I'd prefer not. They have like 3 times more HP than the whites, and they have a lot more resistance to magic and everything, so.
So what are the most interesting combos that you think would work well with Red Mage? Either as the primary or the secondary.
Oh, you're talking like for sub jobs?
Yeah.
Depends upon what you want to go for, really. If you want more damage, then I've seen Red Mages sub like Black Mage to output on their DPS when it comes to elemental magic. I've seen them sub Warrior for more damage on their sword. If you want more healing ability, they've subbed White Mage.
So if you're maining a Red Mage, you're probably going to want to level up a lot of other classes.
Pretty much.
Come back here, you little shit. It just tickles me pink how many people are in here today.
Lava you.
Oh, good thing you're pink and not purple, because purple means that you're losing blood circulation, and we have to call, EMTs.
That's just a hot mess, isn't it?
It would be if blood vessels popped.
Ew. By the way, Darius, would you like bar blind or bar silence?
I won't need either.
Oh. Okay.
Borgos was trying to be helpful, and Darius was like, nah, yeah, no.
See, the thing with the bar spells, unless they're a raw, I can't be targeted by them anyway.
Unless they're a what?
Bar silence raw, bar blind raw. If they're not classified as an AoE spell, I cannot be targeted by the bar spells.
Oh, because they're only for me then?
Yeah.
Oh, the rest are just white mage. Okay then.
They get the single ones too, just because if they're ever alone in a party, why have the raw spell, which takes longer to cast.
Oh, someone else is here.
Yep.
What? More people?
It happens.
No, it doesn't. There's never anybody playing that game. What are you talking about? Don't lie to me. I'm just being better.
What's Aparuru? Is that somebody else's thing?
Yeah. Juho's here.
They're probably going like, wait, what's another person doing here?
Oh no, they're worse off than we are.
How so?
Level 1 dagger, level 1 shirt, level 1 Mithrin stuff, and 2 sets of rings.
What, they haven't upgraded anything?
No, they're letting their trust take care of it all.
I want to get into Final Fantasy XI, but I think it would, take up my entire life. And also, I'm waiting for the other really good Square Enix RPG to come out in the West.
What are you talking about?
I want Dragon's Quest X.
It's not going to.
It's the only mainline game we haven't gotten.
And it's an MMO.
Yeah.
And why you say the other, like Chrono Trigger doesn't exist either?
Hey, Chrono Trigger's not an MMO.
But if you want to play it, you can.
I have to get a VPN because I'm Canadian. They only took off the embargo for the United States.
Probably because they realized people were going around it anyway, and they might as well stop trying to stimmy the money coming in.
I want to just be legit. One of the saddest things to me is that Square has abandoned Chrono as a franchise after 2 games, despite the fact Chrono Trigger is widely considered to be one of their best games.
Well, that's why they remade it a bunch of times.
They never remade Chrono Trigger.
They did for the DS.
Yep. They
That
moved
wasn't
it
a
from
remake, that was a
an
re-release.
NES
It had
to
slight
an
differences.
SNES to a PS1.
What?
Like, if you look at it, since the PS1 release, the only times it's ever been released was the Nintendo DS, which was just a re-release with some extra content, which wasn't honestly that great.
Cutscenes.
And then an iOS release.
And
well,
an
they
Android
also
release.
and a PC release.
No, the PC release is the iOS release.
I thought it was a DS release.
No. Oh, the iOS was based on the DS, and then they took the mobile version and then ported it to PC. The PC version is the mobile version, just ported to PC. So like they've been porting it. Like, okay, I'll give them that, but we haven't had a new Chrono game since the PlayStation.
Honestly,
really like
Chrono
Chrono
Cross. They should have remade Chrono Cross, but they have not.
Yeah, I think they should remake Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross. I bought Chrono Cross the other day. I want to stream it, but I don't have capture card.
Well, here's the thing.
Well,
I need to advise you on something. Make sure you do it through a PS3, though.
Yeah, that's what I'll do.
You're also
The,
going to need a scaler, depending on the capture cards you have.
Here's the thing. I have a PS3, and the reason I'd be doing it on the PS3 is modern capture cards won't do composite. Or not composite, sorry, what's it called?
Without assistance.
What is the fucking
Component.
yellow, red, white component?
It's also known as YPBPR.
Oh, I was thinking of coaxial for a second there, yeah.
Oh
yeah, they
god,
don't do
no.
component.
Fuck that shit.
Coaxial is the can to go die. The little pin in the middle, like, always die on those things.
Square Enix is doing a lot of remakes and re-releases of their Trials series.
Hopefully we get Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross. I feel like both games deserve the spotlight because there was going to be a third Chrono Trigger game, and it was canceled. And
Well,
I don't like Akira Toriyama that much, but I really like the writing for Chrono Trigger. Like, I don't... What's the name of the guy who wrote Chrono Trigger? Because it wasn't Akira Toriyama. He only did that. I like the writing in the Chrono series. It's a really interesting setting, and you'll notice in Wild Adventures that there are places where I take inspiration. And I change things, but there's points where it's like, you know...
By the way, Darius, I can't unlock these chests when I have things spamming the chat log.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so they basically prevented me from doing it for like 3 chests so far. I finally had to say something about it.
Yeah, anybody who watches Wild Adventures, you're gonna know that there's things that are gonna be somewhat similar to Chrono Trigger, but I feel like the big thing I want to take away from Chrono Trigger isn't a specific theme or a specific place or character or item or anything like that. What I want to borrow from it is that idea that anything could be around the corner. That when The Hobbit came out, for the time, fantasy wasn't what we know it to be today. There was no tropes. When you read The Hobbit for the first time when it was first released, you didn't know what was around the corner, and that's why they say, watch out, Bilbo. When you go outside the door, you can be swept away, and you never know what will be next. And The Hobbit at the time was a perfect embodiment of this idea of you don't know what you're going to run into. You could be running into the goblins under the mountain, or the elves riding in barrels and saved by the eagles, and like all of these amazing fantastical things. Chrono Trigger is the modern embodiment of that. You never know what's around the corner because it doesn't try to adhere to the tropes of a single genre.
Well, why bother sticking to tropes when you have more interesting ideas?
Like I've said, I am not above the idea of running a D&D like one day in Wild Adventures, having to find fantasy pirates shipwrecked on an island, surviving hordes of zombies every night. Because like, okay, let's have a zombie survival pirate adventure with magic. Like, I don't want you guys to see what's coming around the corner at any point. When you step foot on an island, I want you to not know what to expect.
Well, apart from perhaps the typical local normal wildlife.
Yeah, I want every experience in this campaign to be its own new fun thing.
In before the next island you go to is all Cronenberg monsters.
It's gonna be 100% H.R. Geiger monsters.
Reminds me of a parody interview with him, but I don't want to.
Hey, remember that Chowaniki game where apparently one of the bosses was essentially Arnold Schwarzenegger with a comb over sporting an H.R. Geiger dick?
I have no idea what the fuck you guys are talking about.
Chowaniki. Look up a review. Look up some reviews of it on YouTube. It's freaking weird. Like, when people say Japan is weird, that's one of the things I'd point to.
I think all places are weird. We all have our own kind of weird.
You gotta say though, being stuck on an island all those years probably would make it.
Don't kill the pig.
What?
I was referring to Lord of the Flies.
Oh yeah, that's the most extreme.
I am playing a game about taking apart mechs and repairing them, though.
They made a mech repairman. Okay.
Yes.
So, where should we go now, you think, Darius?
To the moon!
Well, we can stay here for a bit. Everything here is going to be even match or higher.
One more kill and I probably get level 27.
By the way, if anybody here likes disturbing
Let's
kind
see
of
something new.
weird warped mutant-y art like H.R. Geiger or Cronenberg stuff, look up a Polish painter named Beksinski. He witnessed a lot of things in the early 20th century that were messed up. And it really shows in his art. His art feels like it was the inspiration for the modern Jim paint.
So basically, hellscapes.
He paints hellscapes like if there was a hell, this is what it would look like.
As for other spooky, weird body horror stuff, I recommend Junji Ito.
I really like Junji Ito, but I'm trying to figure out how to put it. I like Junji Ito because they're a budding artist with an inspiration from my favorite manga artist. There's a clear inspiration in their work because the way they do shading and the amount of detail that they put into all of their drawings and the way they weight their line work is really similar to Kentaro Miura of Berserk.
And we all know how much you love Berserk.
I think it's the best art of any manga. Followed up by JoJo's.
It also makes a lot of great. Berserk itself inspired a lot of great projects.
Like Dark Souls.
Yeah, Dark Souls, Demon Souls wouldn't exist without it. Or they probably would exist, but in a different form.
Maybe.
But what I find really great about Berserk is that it's able to touch on some very, very messed up topics and be respectful about it by showing the aftermath of these topics. They don't use horrible events that could happen in real life for cheap drama and then forget about it soon after. They showed the way that it will affect you for the rest of your life. And I won't go into any of it on stream. Berserk is very mature. I recommend, huge trigger warning about reading it. Don't read it unless you're an adult. And don't read it if you're sensitive to violence.
Of very sensitive nature.
Yes, it is. I would say that it is more explicit than Game of Thrones. So if Game of Thrones is enough to make you uncomfortable, do not read Berserk. It is definitely not for everybody. It starts out really edgy and doesn't really have a lot of a point to it in the first arc. And then it kind of comes into its stride and it becomes incredible. The first arc of Berserk is just about this really angry guy with a big sword who's walking around trying to get revenge for no actual reason.
Mithril knife.
And then the second arc is an explanation of how he became an angsty guy walking around with a big sword trying to get revenge. And then the story got good because they actually gave him a reason to be big sword guy. Yeah, there's a lot of manga that would seem inspired by Berserk. Like, without Berserk, I don't think we'd have Bleach. I think the big sword trope in anime would probably also be a lot less of a thing.
Yeah, oversized weapons as an anime trope is something that is very, very prevalent.
I like that in Berserk, he's like one of the only people who has a weapon like that. Like, it's not a common thing in Berserk. Everyone looks at his sword and goes, what the fuck?
And then they see how fast you can fucking swing it.
Dude, he has literally cut a man off of his horse in a single swing with that thing. He's also cut a man and the horse in half with it.
Sounds messy.
Which came first, Berserk or Final Fantasy VII?
Berserk. Berserk came out in the 80s.
Meanwhile, Final Fantasy, I think, was mid to late 90s.
Man. You know what? The only thing that big sword fanboys would have had back then would have been, historical evidence of Zweihanders in Germany. It's not.
And even those were less gratuitous.
Yep. But they were massive. 7 feet. Wow.
Yeah, but they're probably a lot lighter than anything that you'd see in anime.
I believe they're roughly around 2.5 kilogram, around 5 pounds.
Oh wow, I'm actually wrong. The first issue of Berserk came out in November 1990.
Still well before Final Fantasy VII. But wait, the Ultima Sword was a thing in Final Fantasy originally before Berserk.
Yeah, Berserk came out 7 years before Final Fantasy VII. In the old Final Fantasies, the weapons didn't really have much of a scale to them, though. Because it was all pixel art. And all the weapons were kind of oversized.
The Ultima Blade, I think intentionally got bigger the more HP you had.
But yeah, there's a part in Berserk where I believe it's the smith who works on all of Guts' equipment remarks that Dragon Slayer, his sword, doesn't so much cut as it's a big, slightly sharpened paddle that just blunt forces its way through things. It doesn't even need that sharp of an edge. It's more like an axe with a lot of range. It's an iron paddle that's been moderately sharpened. And yeah, when he's in his like angry berserker form, he's able to like do like front flips while holding it. It's kind of crazy.
Getting pissed off can make you do crazy things.
He has a special armor that it drives him crazy, and while he's wearing it, moving around hurts him and makes him spray blood everywhere. But it gives him durability to the point where, so long as one drop of his blood remains inside the armor, he's still alive and can still fight. The only way to kill him would be to remove him entirely from the armor, down to the last hair and drop of blood. Of course, if he wears it too long, he'll spew all of the blood out of the armor, and then he'll die, because there will be no blood left inside of it. But it's infinite durability for the time that it works. Now, when he takes the armor off, he will be incredibly fucked up, though.
Oh, that's without a doubt.
It's this like really strong power up, but it has this really huge downside to it, which I think is good writing. It makes it more scalable. That it doesn't get like Dragon Ball. Like Dragon Ball started with people punching each other, and then they started adding beams, and then by the end of it, they're throwing blasts that can destroy the universe in Super.
Which is kind of stupid.
Yeah, that's just power scaling. It's like. It's why JoJo's, I have a lot of respect for the way it's written, because characters in JoJo's typically don't get stronger. They just get smarter.
And know how to manipulate it better.
I think the natural progression of Dragon Ball Z is that eventually at some point, they're gonna get so powerful that it just reverts back in on itself, and they're gonna be like single cell organisms again, and then it's just gonna go and move back up to the original Dragon Ball manga.
Or just
Sorry.
Or just have some god basically said, I'm tired of your shit, basically nukes all their powers.
There's actually, they've hit a point in Super where Ultra Instinct Mastered is a form in which you have hit the peak of what is physically possible in terms of a power level, and you cannot be hit because you are perfect at dodging. If two people used Ultra Instinct Master against each other, the fight would never end because they could never hit each other. It's literally, you cannot fail to dodge.
I thought that was the case for Dragon Ball Z.
But here's the question. What happens with One Punch Man?
One Punch Man, if you actually power scale Saitama, he's nothing compared to even like Dragon Ball Z era Dragon Ball, let alone Super.
Well, the thing is that his power is that he can actually kill anything in one punch.
That's not actually his power. If you look into it,
You assume.
his power is he has a very strong punch. It's not I can kill anything in one punch because my punch has the property that it kills anything it hits. It's my punch is so strong that anything I have encountered has been unable to survive it.
And it's an endless frustration for him.
Well,
So
yeah.
the thing is, it's like, imagine if Goku had Super Saiyan 3 level powers at the start of Dragon Ball. That's what Saitama is. It's what if the hero was at his maximum power level from the end of the series, from the start?
I'd argue Saitama's probably stronger than Super Saiyan 3 because all through the entire series, apparently he's never thrown an honest punch except one time, which was a normal, air quotes, punch, which assumes that he was only like doing. He's only going like.
He has an attack called a series of normal punches.
Consecutive punches.
In Japanese, it literally translates to a series of normal punches. So yes, that is his normal punch. Now, I'm sorry, but feats trump statements, and his feats are not yet universal level, which Super Saiyan 3 Goku arguably is. If you actually power scale.
If you look at his, if you actually look at his feats and the fact of what he's killed,
But he's not
taken
invulnerable.
down. I think he got caught once.
But if you look at him, he does not have impressive feats. Like
as if classified in the manga,
impressive.
He's taken down god level threats, hasn't he?
He hasn't fought anything that is on par with the characters of Dragon Ball Super or Dragon Ball Z. He has never fought anything as strong as Majin Buu.
I don't know if we actually know that because he kills in one punch.
Well, here's the thing: there's no One Punch Man basically has no feats, so you can't power scale most of these characters. It's only what they claim they can do. I can go into a boxing match against Mike Tyson and claim that I am the god of the universe and I could destroy every planet on a whim. And then Mike Tyson could punch me in the face and knock me out, and then declare that he is so strong that he could destroy every planet in the universe at a whim. But that doesn't mean he can. Feats trump statements. There's a lot of statements in One Punch Man, but there's not a lot of feats. They don't do anything impressive.
Basically, known quantities are always more valuable than unknown and supposition.
So, when you look into Dragon Ball, there's a lot of things that are claimed, and I don't really take those at their face value. I'm like, okay, is this actually probable based on what the character's been shown to do? So, I think that One Punch Man is a good series. It's a funny concept. What if you took the hero and you just gave him all of the powers from the start? But they're going to need to get further into it and have him actually struggle against something and have to really take out all the stops.
Yeah, I don't think that's the purpose of the series if that's the case, though.
Yeah, but how do you end it? Like, here's the thing. He's eventually going to have to find somebody as powerful as him if they're going to end it. Otherwise, it's just not worth going on. It's going to get repetitive.
I mean,
they don't make him struggle against something.
Well, that's the thing. He struggles against social normality, really.
Yeah, but everybody's made that argument for Superman, yet Superman has found things that he's had to actually, like, put in effort against.
Yeah, but Superman is also attractive.
Remember, that's subjective, too.
That's subjective. Clark Kent is played off to be a loser.
Which is weird.
So, I'm just going to say that One Punch Man is... When you look at the story structure, he's eventually going to need to fight something that is actually going to challenge him. Or the series is just going to have a weird, stilted ending. Or it's going to go on indefinitely, in which we'll get more.
I don't think Saitama's final whatever battle is going to actually be physical at all. I don't know. I got a feeling it's going to be one of those. At some point, it's going to just like end in a more mundane way. Like there's not going to be a big battle or some shit like that. I don't know. Saitama could find somebody or like just it's going to end in like a mundane way. Like Saitama gets old at some point.
I feel like that'd be a terrible ending.
Probably, but like, I don't know. I think it would be a little bit in line with all that. Like, it's the build up to the whole scene, and then guy kills him in one punch. It's the journey up to that point that's the thing. Like, if you think about it, all of Saitama's fights are anticlimactic because he just punches them once and they're dead.
I don't know. Like looking at it, I feel like One Punch Man is eventually like they can't. What they're doing is not upwardly scalable. They can't just keep going with that because it's frankly, one of the reasons I don't want to watch One Punch Man is it is an incredibly repetitive series. But just what I'm saying is that if you look at Saitama's feats, he just doesn't really have a lot. Like, I think he's been shown to be able to overcome a black hole, which I think is like black hole level of like gravity, which is his most impressive feat in the manga. He's probably star level. Like, he could probably punch a star and explode it, like, with what he's been able to do. But he's never been shown to be a universe level threat. Like, he couldn't punch the fabric of the universe so hard that reality shattered, which Goku probably could at this point.
Which makes Goku kind of boring.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Superman problem. When you have a character so strong, how do you even make them A, relatable, or B, give them anything challenging?
Isn't Goku basically a Mary Sue at this point?
Oh yeah, definitely. And one of my biggest problems with Dragon Ball is, after you hit a certain point, how do you show the characters getting stronger? Because they're still shooting the same size of laser they've always been shooting for the past decade.
Well, I think at that point, at least, this is kind of why I don't like shonen anime, because there is going to be a point where somebody's the maximum power level they can ever get in terms of, like, ability, but, you know, unless they actually play it properly. But in a situation like that, I think at that point, the only way that Goku can get stronger is, like, if there's character development?
Now, I would like to point out the best power increasing in a series is Gurren Lagann, because it starts with a little kid with a drill and ends with a drill 100 times the size of the universe.
Like, what you gonna do with that shit?
In 24 episodes, it's great. But you can only do that because it's only 24 episodes. It's like 2 seasons of anime.
And it is such a weird...
I'm gonna say Gurren Lagann is worth watching, both the original and the movie.
I think it's a kind of like the fall of a lot of shonen anime is that, like, it focuses so much around, like, the combat and fights, power levels, and people's natural abilities. I think that's the reason why some of these fall flat. It's because, like, a lot of them will focus on that, but they leave very little time for actual character development aside from training. I personally don't think going to the gym is character development.
That's what I love about JoJo's, because most JoJo characters don't really increase in their power level. They don't train, they don't make their stands more powerful. They get smarter and they develop as people.
And I think that's a better grounds for a story than just getting more punchy.
Over an entire arc or anime, a character has this cycle about how they get stronger. That cycle happens in JoJo's in a single fight. Villain shows up, the villain has a power that they don't understand, and they initially lose. They then figure out what the enemy does, and they have to figure out what the weakness is. Once they find the weakness, they have to formulate a plan to actually exploit it. And the way they win isn't by being stronger, it's by exploiting the enemy's weakness until they can get in and land a punch. Like, Jotaro doesn't get stronger except for the, like, final fight of Part 3. Like, he stays the same power level through, like, most of Part 3. He just has to overcome obstacles with his head.
That's a good thing.
So I really like this idea that instead of having your power scaling, you're overcoming an obstacle be across a series or a season. It's a fight by fight basis, and so they're constantly resetting back to zero with every fight. So it stays interesting because you don't have to make the enemies stronger and stronger and stronger as you go. You just have to make them different as you go.
Because that means they don't know what this enemy's capable of. Know how to fight it.
They do generally fight stronger enemies as they go, but not everybody. Like, there's characters late in Part 3 who aren't really much stronger than characters early in Part 3. they don't really start fighting anybody who's supremely dangerous until the final confrontation in Part 3 when they fight Vanilla Ice.
That just sounds weird.
Dude, I love that they named him Vanilla Ice and his stand is named Cream. Vanilla Ice Cream.
That is so dumb.
I love it though. The pun.
It's so stupid though.
But yeah, I think that JoJo's does the shonen anime really well by focusing more on character development and like the mental aspect than on getting stronger.
Yeah. Hey
I
Darius,
forget, our
could you show me
stands-
back to town? Because I don't have the map.
I forget if our stands named
You want to show
after
back to town?
Yep.
Are stands named after bands or songs?
Both. And not all of them. Some of them were named after tarot cards, and some of them were named after Egyptian gods, and then they started naming them after bands.
My stand would be called Can't Heat.
My stand is called Mr. Blue Sky.
I really like Jamiroquai, and Can't Heat's a good song.
Another one, I actually designed what I thought was a really cool stand called Time After Time. You can pull events from the near future and near past into the present, but only that event. Like, you can pull a punch from, like, I don't know, 2 minutes in the future, but you can't tell the context in which the punch was thrown. You just know that it happens in a particular spot, and then you can drag a copy of that event to the present. So basically, you have like a really shitty version of
I see.
like Spidey sense, and then you can like create ghost punches wherever there's been a punch previously or will be soon. Yes. Time after time.
The stock now owns this area.
Oh, lovely.
I don't know what Can't Heat would do. I just like the name.
I wonder what a stand called Total Eclipse of the Heart would be. What would that do?
Probably something that like does like changes somebody's like moral polarity.
What would you do if you're walking through a haunted house, like it's the old Victorian house, like the haunting of Hill House, and you're like walking through the upstairs hallway, and from the dark you just hear the first 5 seconds of Total Eclipse of the Heart? What do you do?
Every now and then I feel it.
No singing at. Remember,
You just hear the piano, and then you hear "Turn Around." What do you do?
I start going, start singing it.
You just sing along.
Yeah, I just go for it. But only Bonnie Tyler sides.
What would you do if you walked into a McDonald's restaurant and the lady behind the counter, she didn't ask what your order is, she simply asked, "Do you want a McFrizzle?" Would you say yes?
I'd say only if it came with the school bus.
Interesting answer.
Why are we going to Juneau?
Oh, I thought that's back to town. I was going there.
Yeah, that is back to town. Juneau is the town we're going to.
Ah, good idea.
I asked, why are we going there?
Pray and whatnot.
What would you do if there was a child right in front of you?
Douche. I love that video. The guy just like walks up and slaps his kid. Play slaps, does not actually hit him. No child abuse. Douche. The other version of that I love is like, what would you do if there's a child right in front of you and it's just Anakin turning on his lightsaber? Little kid steps back. No.
Bad P Fox.
Dude, one of my favorite videos, like, there's a little clip on the internet like a little sketch of this guy. He's wearing a VR headset and he's like swinging
Nice Darius.
his controller near the ground.
Comes
his
every
friends were like, "What's he
10,000
playing?"
XP.
His friend's like, "Oh, I think he's like cutting the grass in VR or something." And he's like, "Dude, this game's really cool. You should try it." And he hands the headset to his friend. His friend puts it on, and then you just hear, "Master Anakin, what's going on?" The lightsaber turning on.
You're talking about that Beat Saber reference, aren't you? That was horrible.
There's another game called Hotel R&R that I personally like, where you try to like your job is to be a pop star, but the devil cuts you a deal, and the devil cuts you a deal and says like, okay, you can be famous, but you gotta trash hotel rooms. You get to trash a bunch like hotel rooms.
Basically, every hotel you go to gets trashed.
Can we make a game that's the opposite of Viscera Cleanup Detail, where you have to meticulously go and make as much of a mess as possible by blowing up aliens?
Or just like, here's alternative, or it's your job to cover up and frame somebody for murder, so you make the scene look grotesque, but also not pin it on you.
But no, but it needs to be literally the opposite. You're the guy who shows up and makes the mess.
So,
oh, you mean
with
Doom?
that, it's time to go ahead and find somebody to...
I'm gonna go to bed.
Ah, I'm surprised you stayed up this long.
Yeah, well, maybe I love my boyfriend and I want to snuggle him longer.
I'ma boop your... I will boop it.
Never.
Total
Night,
boops.
night.
8 boop. All the boop.
Baba booey.
Let's see. Who do we want to go with? Let's boop touch. Why not?
The myths are real.
Great. Another kaiju movie advertisement.
Ooh.
The world needs Kong.
Oh, gee. Anyway, let's see here. So if you guys want to see when we're going live, the social links are right there for Twitter, Discord, YouTube, etc. And that said, we're going to go ahead and raid Touch Scaly Tail, who seems to be playing some sort of maybe Metroidvania or something. I'm not quite sure, honestly. We'll find out, won't we? So, let's see here. So, thanks for everyone coming. Greatly appreciate everyone coming and visiting me here today. And I'll be seeing you next time. Toodles, guys.
Total.
Pass and through. Right, this door's open now. Lodgins. E. Da, 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 da.